inquest docket will be opened with police to fully probe the incident. Once the cause of the collapse has been established, the city intends to demolish the building and charge the owner accordingly. Rescuers are currently working to extract the body of the last construction worker trapped under the rubble. Joburg EMS spokesperson Xolile Khumalo.
The building involved is in clear violation of city bylaws as due process was not followed in its construction. The city does not have official record of approval and building plans were not submitted for review.
The Deputy Minister of Labour, Jomo Sibiya, has arrived on scene and will later brief the media. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News, Omonde.
Deputy National Police Commissioner Tibelo Mosikidi says she was surprised and shocked to learn of the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team in the news. At the time of the disbandment, she was acting National Police Commissioner. Mosikidi is testifying before Parliament's ad hoc committee, which is probing allegations of police corruption. She is being questioned on the implementation of the directive by Police Minister Senzo Mchunu on the disbandment of the PKTT. Mosikidi says there was no discussion between herself and the minister about the disbandment of the team.
At no stage was the mention of PKTT or any attempts to have any directive on PKTT, neither from the minister nor from the National Commissioner. I think my direct commander is the National Commissioner. At the time, National Commissioner did not mention anything in relation to the PKTT.
Thabo Besta's legal team will bring another urgent application to the Pretoria High Court to have him moved from the country's only Supermax correctional facility. The convicted murderer and rapist is contesting his move to Epongweni prison in Kokstad, saying it's difficult to consult with his legal team ahead of his trial. He is facing charges related to his escape from the Mangaung correctional facility that was in 2022, where he was serving a life sentence. Dimakatso Leshoro has more.
Besta has repeatedly raised concerns about the conditions of his incarceration since capture in Tanzania in 2023. Last week he suffered another blow after the Free State High Court dismissed his application to have access to a laptop, among other things, claiming this was infringing his right to a fair trial. He says conditions have only worsened following his transfer to the country's only super maximum security prison, Epongweni. This is his second bid to be brought back to Gauteng. Last month, the Pretoria High Court struck the matter off the roll after finding that his legal team did not afford correctional services sufficient time to respond to their papers. Besta's lawyers are expected to argue that consultation has become increasingly difficult with him kept at Epongweni and want him returned to Kgosimampuru or any facility in Gauteng. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis wants to keep his position even if he is elected federal leader of the Democratic Alliance. Hill-Lewis officially entered the race for federal leader last week, hoping to take over from John Steenhuisen. The party will go to Congress to elect new leadership in April. Despite his national ambitions, Hill-Lewis says he has no plans to step down as the mayor of Cape Town.
I've enjoyed every minute of it and fully intend to finish my term and stand as the mayoral candidate for the DA in Cape Town again at the end of the year.
And France has deployed fighter jets over the United Arab Emirates to protect its naval and air bases against attacks. This has been confirmed by the country's foreign minister as attacks in the Middle East continue. France has hundreds of Navy, Air Force and Army personnel based in the UAE. Its government says a hangar at a French base in the UAE was hit by a drone on Sunday. The United States and Israel launched attacks against Iran on Saturday, killing Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Iran has responded by targeting U.S. allies in the Gulf region. While gold is trading at $5,258.10 an ounce, the rand is at 16.30 to the dollar, 21.67 to the pound, 18.93 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $77.74 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays in Bedford View along the N3 North approaching the Kilulis interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 South towards the Kilulis turnoff due to an accident right after Lingsfield Road while travelling in Cape Town Town, please be on the lookout for some delays on the N2 inbound due to a car stuck on the road after Baden-Powell Drive. There's also queuing traffic on the N2 incoming due to a car broken down in the right lane just before Bunga Avenue.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng today with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 25 and 26 degrees, while Cape Town is partly cloudy with a moderate southwesterly wind at a high of 23. The top story in EWN this hour, the death toll following a building collapse in Omonde in the south of Johannesburg has now risen to 9.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Coming up on the show today, we'll speak to Joburg's new Deputy Mayor, Loyiso Masuku. The death toll in the Omonde building collapse crisis rises to 9. Thabo Bester wants to be moved from Ebongweni Supermax prison. The DA announces more steps in the Joburg water crisis, and will explain how donor funds were looted from the health department. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Great to be back with you. I've just been watching. The president has unveiled 2 new big statues on Durban North Promenade on the beach as tourist attractions. So 2 great big statues of Nelson Mandela and Oliver Reginald Tambo. 22 million South African rands it costs to put up these 2 statues. The government is saying that this is to attract tourism to KwaZulu-Natal. What are your thoughts on statues? Look, to their credit, I think the statues look really good. It's not like one of those ridiculous statues where they look nothing like the people. So I think that they look very good. Is there value in tourism to have a statue? My kids went and took a photograph of the Nelson Mandela statue the other day at Sandton Square. But do people really go, I think that I'm going to travel to Durban in eThekwini in KwaZulu-Natal because I want to see a big statue of Nelson Mandela? Does that happen? Is that how the people's thought process works? 22 million rand, is that something? Remember Nathi Mthethwa wanted us to build that great big flagpole for 110 million or whatever it was, that you could see very far, bright at night. Do you think there's value in 22 million rand being spent on a statue of Nelson Mandela and O.R. Tambo that's just been unveiled by the president and a delegation, including Jeff Radebe? Send me a WhatsApp voice note, 072 702 1702. 072-567-1567. We're hoping to speak to the Deputy Mayor of Johannesburg, Loyiso Masuku. She, of course, was elected last week as the Deputy Mayor. A bizarre situation in Joburg. You've got a mayor and then you've got a Deputy Mayor. They are from 2 different factions of the ANC. There's this power struggle going on. Do we need a deputy mayor? And then yesterday it was approved that everybody's getting pay hikes. So the new mayor, the new deputy mayor, will receive 1.3 million rand. That's more than her previous pay as the finance MMC, according to News 24. The mayor, Dada Morero, will receive 1.6 million rand. That's an increase of about 65,000 rand from his previous package for the city of Joburg. What are your thoughts on that? I'd love to hear from you. We're hoping to speak to Loyiso Masuku. And just an illustration of what we saw in terms of this power struggle. So today, both the mayor and the deputy mayor went to this Omonde building collapse. So they stood side by side. Do we need a deputy mayor if we've got a mayor? That's one of the questions I'd like to ask her today, and what her plan is in this position as well. So we're hoping to speak to her. But let's start first in Omonde, where the Labour Minister is also visiting today. The death toll there has now risen to 9. Jabulile Mbata, EWN reporter, is there for us. Jabulile, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. Before we get to the officials, what is the latest there in terms of death toll and the recovery process?
Good afternoon, Mandy. So the death toll has risen to 9. So I was reporting earlier that, when we arrived here at 6 a.m., it was known that there were still 3 people underneath the rubble. 2 were then found.
Jabulile, I'm just going to ask you, there's quite a lot of wind disruption. If you can just move so we can hear you clearly.
Okay, let me just move. Is it better now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, as I was saying, there has been 3 people who have been declared dead and have been recovered from the scene here. But we still do have officials, processing the scene. As you will understand, they are trying to establish what caused the collapse.
Okay, now we have had the mayor there and the deputy mayor, the Labour minister also visiting the scene. What is the official stance on what happened here?
So officials are telling us that the building plans were not approved. And one of the strange things is that, they do know the name of the construction company working on this site, but they're saying they never approved any plans. And this, site is actually near completion. It does even have a roof. So, it is quite strange that the second floor, or rather second slab, was being built after now it was, it had a roof. So they are saying they didn't have plans approved, and they're not sure how this had happened. So they will also be looking into their own officials, because there must have been some sort of, discussion with city officials for this construction to have gone on for this long. Another thing they were saying is that they actually cannot locate the owner of the construction company. I'd like us to take a listen to what Mayor Dada Morero said earlier about what would happen if now he is found.
Remember, we have to follow what our bylaw says. In this instance, it means, 1, the city has to take the matter seriously and also lodge it with the courts, and then we must then also demolish. However, the inquiry that will then be established will further give us details on how we're going to act against the owners of the building, including the construction company.
So that's Jabulile Mbata, EWN reporter, who's at the site of that building collapse in Omonde. A statement from the owners as well. We'll speak to the lawyer shortly, who's acting for the owners of that building. But that's the latest from the site there in Omonde.
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays 12 to 1 p.m.
Now, if you follow local politics in South Africa, you'll know that song is associated with Loyiso Masuku, the deputy mayor recently elected of the city of Joburg. And it's a pleasure to welcome the new deputy mayor to the show today. Deputy Mayor, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Good afternoon, Mandy, and good afternoon to the listeners. Thank you for having me.
Before we get into all the deputy mayor stuff, you're also on the site in Omonde at the moment. You've been there with the mayor. What is your thoughts after seeing what's happened there?
Mandy, it's very unfortunate scenes that we have witnessed here this morning. Just about 10 minutes ago, the Emergency Services Rescue and Mission have discovered the 9th body, which earlier on in the morning it was unaccounted for. This is unfortunately the 9th deceased member of the workforce that was here. The workforce was obviously working contracted by a private company, and you are aware that there are 3 that are in hospital. Mandy, the reality is that bylaws were not followed. And earlier on, we confirmed that there are no approved building plans within the city of Joburg, so there was no compliance, and the work that was being done here is actually done illegally, not in line with the laws of the city. Very unfortunate incident, and it's sad now some of the families have arrived on the scene, but the EMS will now hand over the site to SAPS, and then once that work is done, then everything is up to the Department of Labor to then take over in line with their laws and regulations.
Deputy Mayor, thank you for that. You're now in full swing of this role as Deputy Mayor, having been elected last week. There's been a lot of commentary around your election and the creation of this post of Deputy Mayor. Why do we need a Deputy Mayor in the city of Joburg?
The mayor role, Mandy, is a legislated role. It was actually approved by the MEC of Kokta in our province in 2024. In other provinces, it has, in other municipalities, rather, it has always been in existence. You have deputy mayors in Tshwane, you have deputy mayors in Cape Town, you have deputy mayors in Nelson Mandela Bay, because it's an important role in metros to the executive mayor in the implementation of the integrated development plan, in the work of strengthening governance oversight, particularly in metros because of the work and the intensity of the expectations of our residents. In Johannesburg, we've got 5.8 million residents that require a collective team to work together in ensuring that the work of government is strengthened. So it's an important role that is about also the oversight role where the deputy mayor works hand in hand as a link between the council, as in the city council, and the executive in line with the separation of powers, as well as the importance of ensuring the oversight on governance in the municipal entities in the city of Johannesburg and the administration and the work that must be done in terms of implementing decisions of council, implementing policy, review of policy, and as well as the integration of the work of the three spheres of government at an intergovernmental relations level, national, province, and local government. It's an important role that a deputy mayor has to do.
The optics of it, many suggesting that it looks like the two centers of power in the ANC in Joburg are now being reflected in their position that you don't trust Dada Morero to be the mayor of the city of Joburg, that you're there keeping an eye on him, and that this is a reflection of the two centers of power. Is that what's happening here, or is the ANC united in Joburg?
Mandy, the ANC remains the center. There are no two centers. The African National Congress is the center. Comrade Dada Morero is a deployee of the African National Congress. I am also a deployee of the African National Congress. The conference was a period where we had to go and deal with policy issues, where we had to go and renew our mandate in terms of leadership. That has come and gone. We are now focused in terms of working with our branches to unite the organization and to continue with sustainability in government. We are in a year of local government election, and all of us have to work together collectively. And I have the pleasure of having already served under the mayoral committee of Comrade Mayor Dada Morero, who will work together in the African National Congress, and we remain committed, united, and our focus is clear. We want to fix local government. We want to improve visible service delivery in Johannesburg together, so that the citizens of Johannesburg, the 5.8 million residents I spoke about, understand that the ANC is interested in ensuring that they provide services.
It's no secret that service delivery in the city of Joburg is very much in crisis. The president has sent a bomb squad. There have been massive water issues. I don't think we can deny the fact that there's a real service delivery crisis in the city of Joburg. Yet yesterday, there was approval for salary increases for the mayor, for the deputy mayor, for the speaker, for members of the mayoral committee as well. How do you justify that when people are so frustrated in the city of Joburg? Deputy Mayor?
We have a responsibility to make sure that we deal with infrastructure backlog. There have been many pockets of excellence, but we are the first to admit that we need to invest more, and we need to put more money in terms of ensuring that infrastructure investment is prioritized. And we are doing that. We've already, in council, we approved a turnaround plan which will require us to raise 32.5 billion, Mandy, that is going to assist us over 10 years to fix our reservoirs, to deal with the burst water pipes, to deal with oversight in terms of the leaking, the water leaks. And we are making that concession. That is why then we do a turnaround plan so that we resolve those challenges. Because the work that is required from us also needs us to be honest and reflect that there may have not been proper maintenance over the years. That is why then the infrastructure would crumble. That's why we will have a turnaround plan. We've made an admission that we've got lawlessness in our city where our infrastructure is vandalized. And we have to that now in the budget for May, we are committed to push and spend more money on bylaw enforcement and the JMPD, because the more JMPD officers we have on site, then we are able to deal with this issue of people who bypass meters, because then you are making us to lose revenue when you do illegal connections, and then we disconnect, and then people go back and they.
Deputy Mayor,
we are working to deal with.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to bring you back to my original question, though. Is why are we seeing increases for the mayor and the deputy mayor and for the speaker when there's a service delivery crisis?
The increases that happen for all 270 municipalities in line with SALGA. It is an annual, it's called the upper limits annual increase that is done. It is not a City of Joburg increase, Mandy. It happens for all municipalities in the country every year in line with inflation, approved by the minister and the MEC in that respective province. And that is done in line with the upper limits of that particular period. It is not a City of Joburg specific increase. It is a legislated matter that is done yearly.
You mentioned we're in a local government election year. The DA's candidate for mayor in Joburg is campaigning very hard at the moment, Helen Zille. The ANC is yet to announce a candidate. If you are that candidate, what would your plan be, and are you going to be that candidate?
Then the selection and announcement of mayors for metros in the ANC is done by the national office bearers. So they are the ones who assist with that, and they are busy with that process. Then they invite candidates. Once they've done that based on their assessment and the experience and capacity, they will invite candidates. So you won't know whether you'll be invited or not. You have to wait for that period, and you must accept to be deployed where the ANC deploys you, because as members of the ANC, we're guided by the National Executive Committee.
And your plan as Deputy Mayor over the next few months until the local government elections? What can we expect from you?
Work with the Mayor, assist in accelerating service delivery, oversight on administration. In the main, Mandy, also, we're very clear, and the Mayor is very passionate about this, that we must deal with this issue of land invasion, because the land invasions in our communities actually add to the infrastructure challenges. They add to the challenges of the water pressure, illegal connections. So we're going to up our work with bylaw enforcement. We're going to increase our visibility in the inner city. We've already started. There's pockets of excellence in Braamfontein, in Marshalltown, the Standard Bank corridor. So we're working hard to make sure that De Villiers becomes better. And then the inner city itself must be a place that is revitalized. So we keep businesses there. We keep the economy of the inner city alive. And we allow students to be able to thrive within the business district of the city. So that is work that we are passionate about doing. And of course, raise bonds. We have to raise bonds. We have to raise loans so that there's money for us to serve, to deliver the services. We collect revenue while we encourage residents to pay for their services, as much as we understand that there may be the economy is not doing well. But we have to work hard and say, residents, please pay your bills, because we need the revenue to ensure that we strengthen service delivery. And if, for an instance, if you've got a challenge and you can't, we've got programs like the debt relief program in the city to assist you to halve your bill. Then you start on a clean slate. If you're a pensioner, we can write off your entire bill. If you're an NPO or an based organization, we can cut your bill into. Right. Then you start afresh. Yes.
Deputy Mayor, thank you so much for making time to speak to us today. Loyiso Masuku, the Deputy Mayor, thank you very much, from the city of Joburg, explaining there why we need a Deputy Mayor, whether the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor should be getting an increase in salaries as was approved yesterday, and what the plan is. The ANC needs to announce a candidate for Joburg. Helen Zille is very busy at the moment. What do you make of what Loyiso Masuku has to say?
Hi there, Mandy. I think the Mayor and Deputy Mayor of Johannesburg should both work for a year without taking a salary to prove to the citizens of Johannesburg that they are genuinely concerned for the well-being of the city and plan to fix it. And as far as the statues on the Durban North Coast are concerned, well, that just gives you an idea as to where the ANC's head is when it comes to money. It's either being stolen or blown. Cheers, Peter.
Why on earth would you need the mayor and the deputy mayor at the same thing? I presume that the whole point of this was to use your resources correctly. And this is just such wanton waste. Sibs.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car full of groceries and a lady who will be attempting to make her mother-in-law's famous recipe for the family dinner tonight. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's butterflies and a potential bonding moment. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
The Vodacom United Rugby Championship is one of the hottest tournaments on the planet. Hollywood Bets adds spice with an epic competition in which 400,000 rand in cash, prizes and betting vouchers must be won. Prizes include a Vodacom URC VIP experience and a glamorous Table Mountain adventure. To enter, simply bet 30 Rand or more on any Vodacom URC fixture between 23 January and 16 May. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Morning, sir.
Hey, got up the shop.
Topping up.
Yeah. Hey, remember when our coffee didn't taste this good?
And when the Wi-Fi dropped 3 times a day?
Yo, my
good
man.
times.
Now we've leveled up. High-speed Wi-Fi, private spaces, on-site support. This place runs like a machine.
Yo, flippin' seamless.
Yeah, that's WeWork, eh?
And my team's like loving it, eh? Productivity's up. No one's fighting over the fridge.
Yeah, I know. It's the dream.
WeWork, Africa's largest co-working spaces. WeWork.co.za. Made for work, built for business.
And now, it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So many messages coming through in response to that interview with the Deputy Mayor of the city of Joburg. We'll play some of those voice notes. But as I mentioned, the DA is very busy campaigning. And they have today released a billboard on the water issue in Gauteng. Tabiso Goba, EWN reporters, got that story for us. Tabiso, what is the DA doing?
Good afternoon, Mandy. Well, we're currently right here in Easterest in Pretoria, and they just unveiled this billboard, and it's a picture of Panyaza Lesufi taking a shower where, for some reason, he has both a T-shirt and a tie. He has a white shirt and a tie while taking a shower. And it reads that the ANC showers in hotels and that you have to vote DA to put water in your taps. So this billboard was just unveiled here at Easterest, Pretoria, and obviously taking a dig at Panyaza Lesufi's recent comments where he said he had to go shower at a hotel. Obviously, as you said, Mandy, this is part of the DA's campaign. All the mayoral candidates are here, including from Pretoria and the other metro cities, Mogale City, Johannesburg, and other metro cities in Gauteng.
A little bit cheeky of the DA. What are they saying about this?
Yes, I mean, it's part of the DA's, campaign in terms of the water issue. We know there's an ongoing water crisis here in Gauteng, but especially some parts of Johannesburg, but also where we're also here in Easterest, where there are some residents who are still obviously struggling with water. And the DA is saying that, the infrastructure problems are very long infrastructure problems, and successive governments have not solved those issues. And I do have to say, obviously, that we are here in Pretoria and that the DA was in charge for Pretoria for 8 years. So I don't know if they're also referring to themselves here, but obviously it is a DA campaign, and they are saying that if you do vote DA, that they have a master infrastructure plan on how to fix South Africa's or Gauteng's water issues.
Tabiso, thank you very much for that. Tabiso Ogoba, EWN reporter, who is out there where the DA has revealed that billboard of Panyaza Lesufi taking a shower bath at a hotel. How do you know it's election season? Well, that's how. 12:30, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. Search and rescue teams are working to recover the body of a 9th construction worker who was trapped under the rubble of a collapsed building in Omonde, south of Johannesburg. This morning, the bodies of 2 workers that were also trapped under the rubble were recovered. This brings the total number of people killed in the incident to 9. Parts of the second floor deck of that structure caved in yesterday, trapping construction workers beneath the concrete material. Deputy National Police Commissioner Tibelo Mosikidi says she was surprised and shocked to learn of the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team in the news. At the time of that disbandment, she was acting National Police Commissioner. Mosikidi is currently testifying before Parliament's ad hoc committee, which is probing allegations of police corruption. And the bail application of the son of late former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe has been moved to Thursday. Bellarmine Mugabe and his co-accused made a brief appearance in the Alexandra Magistrates Court this morning. The matter was postponed to allow the prosecution more time to provide the defense with outstanding documents. Mugabe and Tobias Matonze were arrested last month following the shooting of an employee at the Mugabe residence in Hyde Park. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
A very good afternoon. I am Alex White. A handful of players remain stranded in Dubai after last week's ATP tennis event due to airspace closures amid escalating conflict in the Middle East. Champion Daniil Medvedev is among those stuck, with players staying in tournament hotels as limited flights begin to resume. Tomorrow, the Proteas take on New Zealand in the first semi-final of the T20 World Cup. The Proteas come into the clash full of confidence. Touted as favourites, they're the only unbeaten side left in the tournament and have already beaten New Zealand by 7 wickets in the group stages. Coach Shukri Conrad, the Proteas have appeared to not let much faze them, including the double super over against Afghanistan.
I think that's the mark of really good sides. When things get tough, they're still able to eke out the right result.
A reminder, at the last World Cup, South Africa demolished Afghanistan in the semi-finals, restricting them to just 56 and wrapping up the chase inside 9 overs. Later this week, England face India in a repeat of their 2024 semi-final, a match India won on their way to beating the Proteas in the final. If India meet the Proteas again, it would be a repeat of that showpiece, although the Proteas did get the better of India earlier in this tournament, while an England-South Africa final would be a completely fresh matchup with the two sides not having faced yet in the tournament. Sticking with cricket, in One-Day Cup action today, Western Province host the Warriors. On the weekend, Province lost to the Lions and the Warriors beat defending champions Dolphins. Then this weekend, it's lights out and away we go for the 2026 Formula One season. The Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne will be raced on Sunday morning as the first instalment to a refreshed format. It consists of engines with 50% more electrical power, fully sustainable fuels, a 22-car grid, and Audi's debut as a works team. I have a bonus point for you at the end if you know who was the F1 World Champion last year. Sidestepping to some results from yesterday's FNB Varsity Cup action, UJ, Shimlers, Tuks and the UCT Ikes all picked up wins, with Tuks propelled to the top of the table after round 2. Then passing to the Springboks, coach Rassie Erasmus has clarified the team's squad rotation plan for the coming season. After averaging 9 changes per game in 2025, Erasmus says the squad has built impressive depth, and so the focus now shifts to consistency, with no need for drastic experimentation this year. Rassie, how does this affect the team for next year's World Cup in Australia?
We've always said 18 months out from the World Cup, you really know who will probably make it to next year and who won't. We know much more now than 48 months ago.
Kicking over to football, Betway Premiership table toppers Orlando Pirates continue their Betway Premiership title push on Wednesday night when they face Polokwane City. Then at 7:30 tonight, Richards Bay host the wounded Kaizer Chiefs. Zwelile host Stellenbosch and Orbit College visits TS Galaxy. In the Premier League, there are 3 matches to look forward to at 9:30 tonight, while Wolves host Liverpool at 10:15. Finally, I asked you who was last year's F1 World Champion. It was, of course, Britain's Lando Norris. For Eyewitness News Sport, I am Alex White.
EWN Traffic.
Let's start off in Cape Town with some delays along the N2 inbound after Baden-Powell Drive. This is due to a car stuck on the road, and then there's an accident reported on the N1 inbound before Wingfield Road. It's causing delays as well. In Khayelitsha, we've got Meway closed off to traffic in both sides of the road. This is between Palmer and Spine Road due to protest activities along this route, so please try to avoid there while traveling in Gauteng. Some issues on the N12 west between the Edenville Road exit and the Kilulis interchange. An accident reported there, and then there's also queuing traffic in Paulshof. This is along the N1 north approaching Rivonia Road. An accident seen there as well. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Year in, year out, we're fixing tires faster than a Formula One pit crew. My team is on top of things like tire whisperers. If an unforeseen accident were to happen in my workshop, at least I've got MyWay business insurance to keep the wheels turning.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. MyWay is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. MyWay. Live your way.
At Chamberlain's, there's something for everyone. From building supplies for the home renovators to garden essentials for the homemakers. From power tools for the DIY doers to painting supplies for the patio Picassos. We even have coffee for the slightly sleepy and snacks for the young ones. And for the ones who can never quite find what they're looking for, we have you covered too. With our promise to find and source whatever you need. Chamberlain's, famous for hardware since 1903.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za. WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Good day, Mandy. There's no problem of any statue of Madiba. No problem at all. Madiba's had to spend time for us 27 years in prison, so there's no problem. How much the statue is, no problem. Oliver Tambo, no problem. Winnie Mandela, no problem. Some people live large now because of those people. Thank you.
Hi, Mandy. My name is Sil. I am in Centurion today. 22 million rand for a statue in this economy. It's not worth it. I can tell you, it's not worth it. These ANC people don't have ideas, man. They always do the same thing. They're not just doing statues, they are renaming roads or renaming towns. Why can't they just build proper, functioning, cash-generating things? Do they not have ideas? Do they not have metric at the very least, these people? How many Nelson Mandela statues do we need, or streets named after Nelson Mandela? Is it because they are not generating new, worthy people that things can be named after? Yes, like I'm up to here with these people.
It's an absolute joke. 22 million for statues that's going to attract tourism. An absolute joke. It's just another way of stealing taxpayers' money for the ANC's political theatre. At the end of the day, we need water, we need roads, we need policing. Just came through Midrand. A straight and right and left only lane is just a solid parking lot. And who's parked in there? The damn SAP member going to go and get lunch at some filthy cafe. Yeah, that's what we need. We need actual policing. So sick of this corrupt ANC.
People are angry, and that's what a 22 million rand, statues will do to people. I've been asking, what do you think about the statues that have just been unveiled by the president on Durban's North Beach today of Nelson Mandela and O.R. Tambo? They're saying it's going to attract tourists to eThekwini, and that's why they've done it. But should we be spending the money on something else? Lots of messages coming through on the WhatsApp line. Keep sending those. Earlier we spoke to the Deputy Mayor Loyiso Masuku of the city of Joburg. She was in Omonde, where that building has collapsed. We've got a statement from the owners of that building. The New Order Investments, the developer of the building under construction in Omonde, about this. Their lawyer joining us now to speak about that. He's also the lawyer for Bellarmine Mugabe. So we'll speak about both of those cases. Senenhlanhla Nguni is the lawyer and joins us now. Senenhlanhla, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Good afternoon, Mandy. Thank you for having me on your show.
So let's start with the Omonde building. Your clients are New Order Investments. They are the developer of this building under construction. What is their reaction to what has happened, and what are they saying about the collapse?
Yeah, look, my client is obviously quite devastated with regards to what transpired at their development. There's still a ongoing investigation, and my client has assembled a team of experts to investigate thoroughly what led to the incident that transpired yesterday at its development. At this stage, it's still too early. I mean, us as the legal representatives have only had minimal time to consult with our client at this point. Our client has tendered its condolences to all the victims of the tragic incident, and at this point, we're utilizing all our efforts to assist the emergency services in order to facilitate the removal of the victims from the site.
The deputy mayor and the mayor saying that there were no approved building plans. Is this accurate, and were all laws followed here?
As I stated earlier on, we're still in the middle of consultation. I mean, we haven't had ample opportunity to consult with client at this point. The incident did happen yesterday. Our client has, at this stage, directed most of its resources and efforts towards assisting the emergency services and other relevant authorities. We're still in a process of ascertaining exactly what documentation was in place, and we will provide it to the relevant authorities in due course.
Now, if I can ask you to change cases, you are also the lawyer representing Bellarmine Mugabe, who was due to appear in court today for a bail application. That matter has been postponed because of a lack of electricity at the court. Tell us about what happened there and what your concerns are.
Yeah, look, it was quite disappointing because, I mean, since last week, Monday, we've been ready to proceed with the bail application on behalf of our client. Now, we arrived at court, myself together with counsel Lawrence Hurdes, who's on brief in respect of that particular matter, and we were advised that the matter couldn't proceed because the court did not have electricity. Be that as it may, we've arranged for the matter to be heard on Thursday in relation to the bail application of both the accused in that particular matter. At this stage, we're still awaiting receipt of certain documents from the state, but we've been informed that we will receive those during the course of today, and thereafter be able to take instructions from client and proceed with whatever necessary applications we intend bringing.
No urgent High Court application by your client for bail, or is he comfortable to wait until Thursday?
Not at this stage. I mean, there seems to be a bit of a dispute with regards to certain things in relation to my client's status. So until we've, taken instructions with regards to that, there won't be a need for that at this stage.
One of those is that he was in the country illegally. Are you able to comment on that, or is that not something you can talk about?
Not at this point. I mean, it's something that has been the subject of dispute, and we do not have from the state side further particulars with regards to that particular issue. So that is one of the issues that we still need to take instructions on. But at this stage, nothing more than that to comment on that issue.
Senen, thank you very much for your time. Senenhlanhla Nguni is the lawyer for both the developers in the Omonde building collapse and also for Bellarmine Mugabe, who was due to appear in court today. That couldn't happen because of a lack of electricity. Just another day in Joburg.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, speaking of which, City Power has announced that it has surpassed 1 billion rand in revenue enhancement as financial sustainability drive gains momentum. So a significant milestone that it has achieved 1 billion rand in revenue as part of a broader revenue recovery and optimization drive. They're aiming to reach 2.9 billion rand by the end of the financial year. Well, what does this mean for you and me? Tami Matiso is the Chief Commercial Officer at City Power. Tami, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time. Firstly, tell us about your revenue drive and how you are achieving this.
Good afternoon to you, Mandy, and to the listeners. Yes, our revenue drive is part of the City Power turnaround strategy. In fact, City Power from around 2016 has been having huge financial gaps, and the board was then at the beginning of the financial year to say we needed to implement a turnaround strategy that will improve revenue and to reduce costs of the entity. So this is part of the turnaround strategy that management is actually implementing to make sure that the organization is financially sustainable.
So what does that mean now? You are targeting 2.9 billion rand by the end of the financial year. The sustainability going forward, is that money going to be spent on infrastructure, renewal? What is the plan? What are you going to do with it?
Yes, most definitely. So currently we've got total losses. We are losing 30% of the energy into our distribution, and that almost 21% is because of inefficiencies like, faulty meters, illegal connections, and many other third-party related issues. So what this means is that I think that 30% is about 5 billion. So we've targeted to raise about 2.9 billion to reduce the losses to at least around 15%, between 15 and 18%. So what we've been doing now, we've been going around auditing meters. Some of our prepaid customers that have not been buying for quite some time, we've been visiting them, replacing their meters and making sure that in line with our bylaw, we are able to recover for the period that has not been done. We've also been doing that with our commercial customers, and I think the bigger portion of that amount comes from our commercial customers.
You've also significantly tightened up billing, which has been an issue for a long time, to close some of the revenue shortages there. What have you been doing?
So from January 2025, the city made a decision, I think after multiple times, City Power writing to the city to take over the billing, because I think the revenue process was quite fragmented at the time. So from July 2025, City Power has now been responsible for the billing and making sure that the bills are accurate. And some of the gaps that we are picking up are as a result of the incorrect billing. So we've tightened up there, making sure that we close the gap. I think some of the issues that we've had for quite some time are reversal. So the credit notes where customers' accounts are being reversed. So we've tightened that space very closely. Some of the issues around meters, we've made sure that we tightened that space also to make sure that not only do we give customers the credit, but we give it a rightful credit. But we also can look back and see in areas where we've underbilled, we correct now, and going forward, the customer knows that they are comfortable with their bill.
You've mentioned illegal reconnections, meter tampering as well. Are you able to really cut the head off the Isinyoka here and get to the bottom of it, or do they just pop back up again?
Yeah, so most definitely. I think one of the difficulties that we've experienced from the past few years is the issues of the illegal reconnections. I think we've done many operations where we go to areas where there's huge illegal connections to remove illegal connections. And one of the weaknesses that we had was the issues around the fact that maybe days after we leave, they are reconnected illegally. So what we are doing now is that we are now working with our security department, but also with the police to make sure that we deploy people. So what we've realized that in areas where there's illegal connection, there's actually somebody who's selling electricity there, promising customers connection, and if the customer pays them, and they charge customers a monthly fee. But the difficulty is that kids get electrocuted, communities live in environments which are not safe. And as City Power, we've tried to electrify some of those areas and make sure that there is constant electricity supply. So we are working with the police to make sure that after we go, they can then be on the ground to check who is actually reconnecting the customers and maybe get them arrested.
Tami Matiso, CCO at City Power, thank you so much for your time today explaining to us there how they are collecting revenue at City Power.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
Lots and lots of messages coming in about the statues that have been unveiled on Durban North Beach today by the president of Nelson Mandela and O.R. Tambo. He's at the podium now delivering his official speech. Let's listen in.
In eThekwini in Durban, and to address you today on the historic occasion of the unveiling of these immense statues, 9 meters tall, gigantic, and representing the likeness of Presidents Nelson Mandela and O.R. Tambo. The eThekwini municipality has, and we're very proud of this, bestowed this honor on these two icons of our struggle and of our history in recognition of their contribution towards our struggle for freedom, a history which was so well presented, in part because it can never be complete, by Mac Maharaj and Jeff Radebe. Leaders who struggle for social justice and the empowerment of our people. The monuments of this nature are important for preserving our history and our heritage as a people. They anchor the collective memory of a nation. When we look at them, we are able to have great memories, not only of what they stood for, but also of our nation and where we've come from.
President Cyril Ramaphosa there explaining to you why we have spent 22 million rand on erecting two great big statues of Nelson Mandela and O.R. Tambo on Durban's North Beach. Are you ready to let go of your ride in the new year? We Buy Cars make it easy and even enjoyable to part ways with your vehicle. Simply complete their form on webuycars.co.za and they'll handle the rest. Looking to upgrade your car? With over 12,000 vehicles for sale, you're certainly spoiled for choice. Visit webuycars.co.za today.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a parent and a nervous but excited kid practicing her lines to put on a show-stopping performance at the school play. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a future superstar on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
From your pet's bowl to Belito Brew or Barcelona. Maybe Bordeaux? How about Brazil? Or Bots, Betty's, Baviance, Bella Bella, or even Benoni. Buy any Hills pet food and you could win one of 10 holidays worth 200,000 Rand each. Or take the bucks. Scientifically proven formulas for your pet. An adventure for you. Hills Pet Nutrition. Science does more. T's and C's apply.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Mandy. That statue costs almost 22 million, right? Probably cost 5 million. And then you can add another few million for traveling, accommodation, and catering, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. So that's the situation. Thank you. Solly here from Cape Town.
don't forget also the money that's paid for the tender, and you know how it is. Michelle says, hi Mandy, I wonder if Nelson Mandela and Oliver Tambo are turning in their graves to see how the ANC have treated this country as their personal piggy bank. I think they would be ashamed, from Michelle. And then, wow, a 9-meter statue of Mandela unveiled by Ramaphosa. Just what we need to spend 22 million rand on. Money we don't have, but it's an election year, right? That's exactly what I was saying.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
So yesterday, the Director General in the Department of Health was arrested, along with the Chief Financial Officer and the Deputy Director General. This is all to do with the alleged looting of the Global Fund. So this is funds that were used, according to a News 24 report, to target a whistleblower who exposed 1.2 billion rand fraud in the Northwest Department of Health. Well, let's go inside this now and understand it with somebody who's been following this for a long time, several months now. Azara Karim is an investigative journalist at News 24. Azara, sketch out this case for us. What exactly is this case against the DG, the CFO, and the Deputy DG?
Hi, Mandy. So yes, yesterday all three of them were arrested, and they currently face charges of fraud and theft of about R1 million taken from Global Fund money that was meant to fight HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. And I think it's important to impress upon your listeners just how important the Global Fund is on the world stage and the repercussions for South Africa. The Global Fund is an international health financier. Governments from all around the world donate money to the Global Fund, including international organizations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And between 2025 and 2028, the Global Fund has allocated about 6 billion rand to South Africa already, which, money which my investigations have shown have been misused constantly.
So this is money, obviously, that was supposed to go to the people in terms of fighting healthcare. Where did it go ultimately?
Our story this morning, so News 24 obtained exclusive internal Department of Health documentation, which essentially lays out a very detailed timeline of just how that money was siphoned away from the Global Fund Department of Health coffers. We show how the DG of Health, Dr. Sandile Buthelezi, signed an appointment letter for a director of a company, Ms. Mafunda, just 8 days after the company was actually registered and formed. We also show how invoices were sent to the department under the company name and not the personal name of the director, which the AG flagged for tax evasion. Because there's a difference in the tax you pay personally and through a company. And we also show how invoices sent to the Department of Health lacked tax deductions and invoice numbers, so incredibly informal. The company, Itani Amen, was appointed to conduct a fact-finding mission into the Chief Director of Labor Relations at the Department of Health, Advocate Maile Ngake, who you just mentioned some years ago, exposed over R1 billion irregular expenditure at the Northwest Department of Health. We also give a snapshot into the reports that she sent to the DDG, Dr. Percy Mahlasi, who the Hawks actually say she has a relationship with. And that report, really, in my opinion, is full of supposition rather than fact. And then by the end, we can see how these senior officials pressured finance and supply chain management to pay, despite warnings that this would be irregular.
So the Auditor General picked this up in 2024. We now have arrests. Is this matter being treated sufficiently by the authorities as far as you've been watching?
This matter is quite an old one. It's from 2023, and the AEG did raise red flags in 2024. It's been a long time coming. whether or not the authorities are handling it with the necessary care that they should, we'll see, because those officials are out on bail at the moment. However, my previous reporting has shown that there are other Hawks investigations into the DG which have been stale for 2 years now. So, I mean, we'll have to see what happens with that too.
Azara, thank you so much for sticking on this. Azara Karim, investigative journalist at News 24, going inside the Health Department's leadership decapitation, how donor funds were looted following the arrest yesterday of the DG, the Deputy DG, and the CFO.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
Thank you very much for joining us. Lots to talk about. The president still at the podium unveiling the statues of Nelson Mandela and O.R. Tambo. And of course, that Omonde building collapse. The officials still on scene there. It's just after 1 o'clock, time for Eyewitness News.
This is EWN.
Omonde building collapse, death toll rises to 9, and young Mugabe's bid for bail moved to Thursday. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Search and rescue teams are working to recover the body of a 9th construction worker who was trapped under the rubble of a collapsed building in Omonde, south of Joburg. This morning, the bodies of 2 workers that were trapped under the rubble